Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and joining me as always, my good buddy Digger Jim. Jim, what is up, bud?
Oh man, I'm telling you, it was a terrible day, but the weekend has started because it's my Friday. I get to go and do whatever I want tomorrow, so I'm very
Nice.
happy.
Kicking puppies and drowning kittens it is, huh?
Absolutely, that's top of the list. As soon as I have coffee, that's the first thing I do.
Right. Well, I mean, you and I got opposite hobbies. I make a weekend at a club in Seals, so it is what it
Indeed.
is.
It is.
You
All
don't
right,
go
and of
hunting
course,
orcas?
Yeah, no hunting
orcas,
orcas.
orcas
Dangerous.
bite back.
Yeah, that's too dangerous.
That's no fun.
Yeah, I love orcas. But anyways.
Oh, I remember that old movie too, Orca.
Oh my god, it's on that back of every '70s comic there is.
Sure is.
I was like, oh my
But
gosh.
anyway, we're here tonight to welcome back Mr. Austin Light from American Demon Comics. Austin, how
Hello.
are you, sir?
I'm good.
It is
Doing
good
great.
to see you. Hope everything's going well for you.
Yeah. Everything's going pretty
Now,
good.
You are still living in the world of envy,
Mm-hmm.
and we're here to talk about envy tonight. So, again, just looking through your preview of this book, can see where your art is just really hitting its stride with it. You got a very kinetic style, and we'll get into that when we share it. But your art, when looking through the pages, always catches my eye. Like it just keeps your eye flowing. But as we're here to promote Envy issue 3. But before we do that, why don't you give us a quick catch up of where Envy started and where she got up to this point, and then we'll start talking about issue 3 and where people can get issues 1 and 2.
All right. Well, the story started with Ginny. We follow Ginny. It kind of sets up the world a little bit. She's gets tossed into the kangaroo court of limbo and goes through the show trial with Satanas, and then she had met Envy during all that process. But they kind of divulged that Satan is doing a conquest, and he has claimed limbo already, and he's trying to bring his roots into our full-fledged reality. Fritz the Druid is introduced in our second issue, and she summons Envy successfully. Envy is a version of King Belial, and she's pompous. She's demanding, kind of commands her room. But before they can do anything, the Archangel Michael shows up, and before she can fully disintegrate and perish, Fritz comes and makes a pact with her. Like, we have a pact that we can make, and let's make it. You can live the life of a human and you'll be transformed, so you don't have to reincarnate. But now you got to understand what like being a human is. So you got to go through love. You got to go through hate, understanding like your own hunger. Your body, something that I like to play on is that your body is kind of more of its own, can have its own brain from your own brain, if that makes sense. Because there's just so much going on that we don't even think about, and she's having to feel all this all of a sudden. She's never had a body,
Right.
And now we are into issue 3, where she's having to get out into the world, but also more of the characters are coming to light. More of the conquest is starting to unfold. More of the demons are starting to come out, and we see 2 of them lock horns. So I actually haven't released that yet. It's coming out tomorrow on my website. And if you want to get the update, you can go to Substack and get just a plethora of information from my Substack. But I also include my comic updates there, and you will find 2 of our demons starting their battle. So all the issues are going to be available on this upcoming Kickstarter. For the moment, they're only available on Kickstarter, or if you just come see me at a convention.
That was one of my questions. Can you get the previous issues? Because we're just talking about issue 3 tonight, and what if you want to get the other 2? Where could you still get them?
They will only be available on this Kickstarter. There's a tier that will include all of them. They're going to be add-ons. So if you want to get multiple copies,
right.
So that's where you're going to get them. If you're like in the Chattanooga area, you can wait till I show up in like September. So
Right.
But that's pretty much it. I'm not really wanting to mess with a shop right now. When Gary asked me at the beginning, pre-show, if I'm going to be compiling all this, and I definitely am. So once that kind of becomes a full-fledged graphic novel chunk of the story, then I will be looking to have that be able to be purchased online.
And now, when is like, how many issues are you looking to do before you compile it? Are you looking for 4 issues or 6 issues? Like,
I'm looking for 150 pages.
Okay, nice.
About where, so I'm approaching page 100. The next issue might just be the graphic novel. So,
right.
But I, gotta look into the logistics of all that. I've got to go back on some files and change the font. I've changed the font choice from issue to issue. I started with the Blambot and then went to Wild Words, and now I'm using the Dave Gibbons Watchmen, and I love it. And I got to go back and change on those previous issues for the full thing.
Now, you were talking about the human in the first issue. What was her name again? I forgot.
Jenny.
Now, how does Jenny's story compare with Envy's? Like, when do they? I'm assuming that they're on a parallel track to meet each other. Just trying to get some comparisons out for the audience here that's going to be looking at your Kickstarter. So you got Jenny, you got Envy, who's also King Belial. When do their paths cross? How important are they to each other?
Jenny was the kind of the sacrificial lamb in the first one. She was just kind of our vehicle to understand, put us in the shoes of that situation. For all intents and purposes, she is dead. So
you didn't know she was coming back.
Right.
Second issue,
but I was trying not to spoil anything for anyone that was watching. That's up to you to do. So it was hard to put that question in a way that didn't spoil anything. But he's gonna put it out there, guys. So now you know.
She's dead, people. She's dead.
Yeah, she's gone.
No resurrections.
But Fritz is going to be a fun character. She's the druid that has summoned King Belial, and she's a punk and a rebel, and has had a chip on her shoulder. She's also very into anything that happens chaotically. She's not gonna if it is turmoil happening, she's going to either try and make it worse or not intervene. And then she is getting paired up with the demon Lust, Asmodee. And they have just kind of found each other in the second issue, and their duo is going to be very fun to play off of as this goes forward, because Lust is not the same. She's kind of a party animal. She's kind of a I don't know how to I always draw like kind of comparisons to other. Have you watched the most recent Squid Games by chance?
I have not.
No, I watched the first one and I haven't watched the
Okay.
second one yet.
Crap.
Right.
I feel like there's some.
I know that's why I was trying. It was so hard to phrase that question. Then he just goes out and spoils it.
Well, I just.
So
she didn't
there's a
turn out to be very
character.
important.
There's a character in Squid Games that reminds you of her or something.
For Lust, there is in part 2.
Okay.
That I can't stop thinking of. It's a dude.
Okay, it's a
but
guy. Yeah.
I don't. Well, I'll just say it for the audience. It's the guy they call Thanos. In this Squid Games part 2, he's very much like Lust.
Okay.
And again, kind of chaotic, but she's a little bit more evil about it. She's a little bit more vindictive. And she's very like cynically bubbly. It's a fun combination. I have an artist, Jonathan McDaniel, doing the variant cover for issue number 3, and he's going to be doing a Lust cover. And I think that he's just recently started on that. It'll be up by the time the Kickstarter goes up, but Lust will be the variant cover.
Nice. Now, is Lust going to play a much bigger part in the story moving forward?
Yeah. So I think that this first 150 pages is going to be like part 1 of 3. So I've got another 2 or 3 years of working on this project, and I'm kind of doing the George R.R. Martin thing to just kind of pop in a character, and I can't make it too much. I can't throw a bunch of characters in there and just lose control, but just pop in a character here and there that I already have planned, and then see how they're going to like be in chemistry with the other characters, and how that's going to separate the groups or bring the groups together. Because the main plot is still moving in the background with Lucifer.
Right. Now, with that though, do you have like a definitive endpoint, or is it a little bit fluid where you're letting the characters lead you as they find their own voice? Because the voices kind of lead you once they get their own voices.
Yeah. Well, I have an outline, and I try and continue to kind of develop and edit the outline, but I want that to be the most, skeletal piece of the puzzle that just stays there, and that I can always go back to if it were to like kind of veer away. So I got to have the outline to stay on track.
Right.
But as far as the characters themselves go, they do have to find their own kind of voice and place with each other. So
right, and how they get to the end game, that can be a bit fluid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of my method at the moment.
It kind of reminds me of though when you explain like that, like a saga, because like you see twists and turns in that like that couldn't, the characters just had to lead Vaughn to that. He couldn't have just plotted that out and from the start. Like these voices had to take over, and this had to happen just because the characters become so strong.
Yeah, it's it's a hard balance too, because the pace at which you make the comic doesn't keep up with the pace at which you can kind of think of the comic.
Right.
So it's hard.
Well, the actual creation part's always the hardest. What's in your mind just keeps going.
Right.
So it's what I'm doing is I'm also working on another project that I can kind of talk about when we go into the Kickstarter. But if I can kind of just bounce back and forth between like 3 projects, it's a max 3,
right,
then I can have enough breathing room to like kind of see the stories develop a little bit better.
Okay.
and keep your mind
Mhm.
fresh, like
Mhm.
keep it invigorated.
Right.
So when you were writing this issue, did you have anything that surprised you when you were writing it that you didn't really plan on, that kind of took you by storm, or anything that came out
Yes.
better than you thought? And is there anything you can hint at or talk about?
Well, so I've introduced a Appalachian in Native American uh, uh, tribe that's kind of like native to the West Tennessee, North Alabama area.
Right,
Um, and I just kind of looked at their cultures and tried to their practices and stuff, and tried to see what was gonna, how can I mesh this Native American lore with um, the Western Goetic pantheon, and also like this demonic stuff that's kind of Hollywoodish, you know what I mean?
right,
That's not really like text based, but like Hollywood kind of shock. Um, how can I meld all these together? And I did that uh, in issue number 3. That has been so fun. Um, and then I've also tied them to the other characters, and I've also tied this tribe to a kind of rogue tribe that's like, or like a sect of that tribe that was actually kind of fell into worshiping Lucifer, and worshiping his plan, and bringing about um, some corrosion and corruption to the land, uh, and I had to kind of make a mockery of like their practices with that, like kind of turn it up on its head, just like a
right. Make it like a caricature of
Satanist,
it.
like a would of,
Right.
yeah. So and that's introduced 2 new demons. That's introduced, another character that's going to be important to another character's like development. That it's just, I did not plan on having this in the this is not what was in my brain for issue 3, but I
Right.
just started making it. I was like, oh, this works, I like this, I like where this is going.
Yeah,
So
and you know when it fits, right?
mhm.
So when you're doing that, so you have these other characters, ancillary characters that are coming in, becoming bigger parts of the whole story. Now, what is Envy's main through line? Like her ultimate goal, of course, she's human and she's got to go through all the trials and tribulations that encompass being a human being. But
Mhm.
ultimately, her goal is to get her powers back and become a demon again, right?
Right.
So
So
there's going to be some trickery coming up with her accomplishing those goals.
yeah. Yep. So that is the through line with her. And she ultimately is going to be handed the question, is she going to stay loyal to not only Lucifer, but the throne of power that she had? Um, or is she going to have a modicum of sympathy still left that has, been watered and developed with her journey as a human?
Right. Like how has
Um,
humanity changed her from what she
right.
originally was?
And with her, um, in a practical sense of her powers, um, I can't have her be completely powerless this whole story. And like, I can't have her be powerless all the way to the end of the story.
Right, because how does she defend herself against
Right.
attacks? How does she fight back? How does she develop if she can't ever defend herself?
Hmm. So every time that she kind of comes to an understanding or revelation, um, she will have a temporary uh, control of her power again. Um, and it's a lot like, if my best comparison would be All Might. If you were familiar with My Hero Academia, the anime, All Might is a caricature of the American superhero.
Right.
He presents himself as big and mighty and strong, and the Superman. But he's had succumbed to an injury that only allows him to keep his powers for like 3 hours, and that 3 hours was diminishing over time. But he would be able to have power and be the Superman for about 3 hours, or for a fight, depending on how much energy he's trying to exert. And so I'm going to kind of give Envy the same treatment, she's going to have
vein. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, they're there when she absolutely needs to call on him, but she can't overdo it with him.
Right. Yeah. Or
Right.
she has to have an understanding of like, oh,
Right.
this is how, I this person means something to me. Like, oh, okay.
I don't want to fillet him.
Right. Yes,
but that's part of the development of her
analysis.
That's part of her like human development. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's gonna experience. I'm getting the impression like she's gonna experience all these feelings and everything else, and that's part of her growth. But also at the same time, she knows her end game is to eventually get back to where she was, so she has to balance and juggle the two together. That's cool. I like that.
Now, Austin, we got two screens here. One that I brought up, one that you were sharing. Is there either one of those you'd like to go to for a minute and talk about?
I want to go to the one that you have,
Okay.
the pre-launch page.
And we'll scroll through this, and we'll let you run it and talk about it here.
So if you just go down, you have it saved. I think there should be, if you go to the pre-launch page, and I might have to redo my redirect. It wasn't working a day or two ago. But envycomic.com should send you to the chapter 3 Kickstarter pre-launch page, and
also this
all you have to do, yeah. And all you have to do is just press notify me on launch, and if it would be awesome if we just get a really good just first 2 days for people to just be ready to go when,
right. And
when
then once
launches.
you do, you get this little saved icon here once you're following it.
And if you can't find it at envy-comic.com, if you can't find it there, it is on my Substack, and I'll probably start putting I do have some direct links on Blue Sky in some of my posts. I may have linked it in Instagram anyway, but like Substack's the best place to find me. But just go to that page and get reminded, but you can read up on it. So as you go down the page, you'll see a little bit of the breakdown.
Right. And I just want to comment, like the cover really draws the attention with the red and her kind of in the shackles there.
Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed making that cover because the other two were so rushed. My first two, I was like, both of them were last minute. So this one, I really wanted to sit down and kind of think about a little bit more. And so I gave it a few thumbnails. I gave it a few versions. I've even worked on it a little bit extra. Like every time I think it's done, I go back and add a little bit more to it. So I thought it was a good rendition of being held down by the flesh, being shackled by
her humanity.
Yeah. And then also the red is a running theme. I try to keep the same red in all of the covers so that they kind of have a matching theme with them.
Now, with these panels here, is this people trying to climb out of hell?
Yes. Or they're just trying to climb.
Right.
They don't want to go be down.
And you get a very manga style. Especially
So-
this one right here. Like that's
Mhm.
that's a manga panel if I've ever seen one, with the close up on the eyes and the
Yeah.
Very inspired by manga. Robbie, I think I put some notes down there, but Robbie introduced me to a lot of more of the Western classics. I mean, like I knew about Hellboy and Watchmen and stuff like that, but I'd never really like put my attention on it, like
right.
like soaking it in. And Robbie from the Pop Culture Philosophers channel, he is a good friend of mine, and he hooked me up with a lot of Mignola and some of his recommendations, and even his recommendations on like esoteric topics. So I've got
Right.
the Alan Moore bumper book of magic that I've been reading, and that's been really fun. But I'm starting to I started to pull a lot of inspiration from those as well.
Now let everyone know who this character is here. If it's not too big a spoiler. If it's too big a spoiler, you can keep it to yourself.
It's kind of a
Yeah.
spoiler.
All right.
All right,
you
keep
guys have to
going,
find
Garrett.
out for yourself when you
I
read
mean,
it.
you could probably connect the dots, but it's not
Right.
something I really want to
Nope,
say
that's
outright.
fine. I wasn't sure because it was in the preview pages, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but this is Phoenix. It's pronounced Phoenix in the Goetia, so it's kind of like interchangeable, but it's easier to say Phoenix. And this is the form that I gave her, demonic form. She was summoned by the natives, and they were summoning the tribal version of the Thunderbird, their version of what the Thunderbird would have been. And so I just kind of was like, okay, so the Phoenix is going to be pretty much a crossover here. And then I also gave her some of the Native American garbs so that she would kind of fit their vision, because that's kind of like the whole magic idea that your deities aren't exactly what you think they look like,
Right.
but they will present themselves as something that's like understandable or what you think they should look like. So
Right.
so that was a lot of fun to play with. And then on down we have the stretch goals and
Glow in the dark sticker. Nice.
I get my stickers from Sticker Ninja, and they are very good quality, very awesome company. Love those guys. And they did a great job on this sticker. This is the baptism of Belial. This was Envy's, third reincarnation baptism. And just I've tried to pack it with some symbology, like what the description of Belial is two angels on a throne, on a throne facing each other, or on a fiery throne. So the thrones are kind of like wheels. So I kind of just put a eye and then put a wheel of light around it, and then face the two angels on the fountain at the bottom facing each other. I kind of duplicate that imagery on her armor, and then that's her as a little baby in the thing.
She was just a wee little demon.
Yeah. Again, not saying exactly who that is doing the baptism, but again, you can connect the dots. This is the first page of a Bigfoot project I want to make, a Western. And it's one of those other projects I'll be working on. And I went with manga paper and manga sizing.
Right.
So that was different in several ways. It's faster. But it's also it's just so different because you're so used to having big paper, big 11 by 17 comic book paper, putting that detail in, and then you go down to basically letter size, and you're doing like the same panel structure. What I'm probably going to have to do is exactly what manga does, where they just spread out through the whole page. There are panels that don't get into the margins of the paper,
Right.
because it's just so big. So,
And this
or
guy
it's just-
obviously not
yeah.
enjoying his meeting with Bigfoot.
no.
Not at all.
But you will get a digital copy of the last or of the first 8 pages of the Bigfoot project on that
Nice.
stretch goal. Oh, something that doesn't get pictured is the gym starter pack, the Pandemonium Gym, which is the gym that I have Envy working at in issue number 3, is going to be kind of a employee handbook on how to get people started in the gym, and it's going to have my exercise demonstrations with Sam and with Envy, doing some of the beginner exercises. So that's where this pinup comes from. Is it was originally going to be Fritz's starter guide back in December, but I changed that up because it was just so close to me getting done with issue 3, and it was also a lot more work trying to put a whole individual project together, have it printed and all the details there. It would just be easier to have it be a digital reward that's a little bit more condensed, and just to dip my toe in that.
Right. These would be cool as a card too.
Oh yeah. I can see that. That would be good. So the last stretch goal will be Fritz there, that pinup. You'll get the not safe for work version, uncensored.
He's trying
Why
to
is it
say
so
that he gives
blurry?
some naughty bits for you guys.
Mhm.
Why is it so blurry, Gary? I can't see anything. I don't understand.
Right? It's
My
for your own
screen.
protection, Jim.
I'm trying to rub my screen. It's not working. Oh my gosh. And then look, you really scraped the bottom of the barrel. You have
Right? I know. That's why I'm just
I
like
don't know
cruising
what
by
you're-
it.
like, you might want to rethink that one. But that's
It's probably hurting his stretch goals right there.
at least a little bit, yeah.
No, I was very proud and happy of your comments on those first ones. So
I meant them. I mean,
Yeah.
everything I said was true. Like, if I didn't think this was a good book, I wouldn't be doing this with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would respectfully decline,
And,
which I've done with other people before.
Yeah.
Not to be mean, but I don't want to push something and promote something to an audience if I don't think it's worth their time or money.
Mm-hmm.
Your project, when I read it, I thought obviously was.
Mm-hmm. I just appreciate it so much. Because you know, when you're making this stuff, you're kind of like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't know if it's good, really. So.
And if they want to learn more about you, you got your little bio here on the page as well.
Yep.
Now, we covered a lot of this on the first one, so we won't go over it. It's right here. We're not going to repeat ourselves. But you guys can go to the Kickstarter, read about them, find out a little bit about Austin. All right, and we'll get out of this one. We kind of looked at that. We saw some of the stretch goals.
Yeah.
And we'll remove that. Did you want to look at the other one, Austin?
Just real quick, because it has a little bit fuller of a view. It'll be a lot of the same information as far as this section over here goes. But what I do have is the tier rewards on my preview page. So I'll start with the digital version of issue number 3, and then move on to the a signed standard, cover and digital, and then you'll have the PDF catch-up with all 3, and then you'll have the issue 3 with all 3 digital PDF catch-ups. Going on down, then you have the issue 3 variant cover, which I don't have that yet, but Jonathan just now got his shots in from his model. He likes to use a photographer and models to work with his stuff. So
That's where Jim's been.
so that'll come out soon. And then
Now,
we'll have the
for the audience that's watching, if you to see the cover when he launches it, and make sure you're going in the description and clicking on his IG link, which I have there, so you can be kept up to date on everything that he's releasing for this Kickstarter, including the variant cover.
Right. I'm super excited to share that variant cover when he's got it done. Jonathan is such a wonderful artist, and he's one that I've got to meet at some horror conventions. And he's really a sweetheart. So been really good to work with as well. And then I have the Marquise bundle, which you get all 3 standard physical copies of Envy, and then you'll get all 3 of the PDF. And then I have the King bundle, which will be all of the variant covers of Envy, and then all 3 of the PDFs. So I have the cover of issue number 2 by Adam Caswell, and then I have a variant cover that I did a long time ago when I very first made the half comic of issue number 1, and was doing a lot of testing with it.
So you're saying an ash can exists that we can't get our hands on?
I don't even know if I have more copies of it. I don't know. But essentially, yeah. It's
we're calling them out live, people. I'm just kidding. No.
I wanted to change printers at one point because I was talking to Brandon, the Gallows Man,
Right.
Brandon Ingram, and he and I were like getting kind of upset with Comics Wellspring at the time because they'd be so exponentially late on their deliveries, but they were like the only option. So I sent in a test run to another printer, and they sent with that test run, I had put on the original cover for the half issue that I did, and got it sent back, and they did a great job. So it wasn't up to the quality that I liked, but the variant cover looks great. And so I only have like 7 more of those left, which I need. It says 8 of 8. Right. I was just kind of guessing how many of those I had left, so I got to change that to 7. So that would be a very rare cover if you were interested in getting that. And then, but like I said, I'll have Adam's version of issue number 2, and then Jonathan's version of issue number 3 when that comes in. Other than that, you get a little bit more of the story, a few more of the pages, and a little bit more of the value of the stretch goals. But for the most part, it's going to be the same stuff.
Gotcha.
Nice.
But yeah, that's been really fun getting to do this, and every time anytime somebody says that they're really enjoying or appreciating the story, it helps a ton. So
now, how many chapters do you see this this project being? Like, how many books? Just
floppies?
Yeah, how many?
Sure.
Yeah, how many issues?
Well, I would say approximately 12 to 15.
Not bad.
And To be fair about it too, you've had a pretty regular release schedule, which is a big thing with people that are backing Kickstarters.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So this is your
You don't
third
want to sit
issue
out
in like a year's
3
time,
years. Yeah.
right?
How
Yeah.
long?
It's like his third issue in a year's time.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great because there
For
are people that
Kickstarter,
do
that's
issues.
amazing.
Yeah, and so there are people that do issues and then you don't see them for like 2 years and they're like, "Oh, we're ready for issue 2." I'm like, "Where have you been?" I mean,
I already
you
forgot what
know,
issue 1 was about.
right? I got to go back and find my issue 1 and reread it. I
Now,
can't
do
do
you
that.
plan on keeping the same pace up while you're creating these? Are you looking for like 3 books a year? Is that kind of a goal?
A year, no. Because each issue so far, the page count has varied. So issue number 1 was like 18 pages, 20, something like that. And then issue number 2 has been 30. And now issue number 3 is going to be close to 40.
Wow.
So the
So
counts are getting bigger.
yeah, counts are getting bigger, but I don't think I'll be able to get a volume of comic chapters done. But I do, like I said, I do try to release. I'm trying to release less. Like I used to release a page at a time every week, but that's not enough of the story. So now what I do is just kind of go, okay, I think this is a good chunk of story that somebody can chew on. 3 or 4 pages, and then I put that on my website, and then I send it out, and try to promote it. And that's been about you know once, maybe twice a month. I'll get 4 pages done, and then some if I'm working on side projects.
Right, but still, I mean, sorry,
40
my kid.
pages.
But still, though, with 40 pages, I mean, you're double the count of the first one. You're getting
Mhm.
you're getting content, and you're getting a
Yeah.
good chunk of story with 40 pages. It's not like it's not scrapings on a bone. You're getting a good meaty story.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you're for an issue 3, that's a lot. That is a whole lot. Now, I noticed on the website you're looking at like within the next 30 days to launch. Is that what I saw right? 31 days to launch? Maybe?
April 1st is when I plan
April
on
1st.
launching.
Oh, okay.
But I think it says it'll go for 30 days.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I misunderstood.
Nice.
No, it's okay.
That's awesome. That
So be ready April 1st on April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day.
Right. Now,
Um,
now, one of the big draws of this is the relationships between all the characters.
I would say so. It's my fun. That's
Because it's not just her journey, but it's how they all mingle.
right. I had a lot of fun so I played World of Warcraft for a few years and did a lot of writing and making scenarios and stuff, and doing role play events with my characters that I created on the game. And that was a lot of experience that I got in writing. But one of the fun parts was my character has this kind of attitude. She has these kind of quirks, and she has this kind of weakness. And then she has this kind of strength. Now I'm going to push her into this whole, realm, this ecosystem of role play where everybody else has the same thing going on. If they're a good role player, they have, a very, figured out persona of their characters. And when they mingle, it's so fun to see what happens. And because you're a little bit more free, getting to role play and experiment with like absurd things happening. So,
Right. Nice.
So that I try to bring that aspect into it more, though I'm not wanting to make something that's like D&D like, or D&D esque. I do love fantasy, and I do love that whole setting. As you can see when you read it, hell is very much in that place of fantasy. but I do like having the characters bounce off of each other to push the story.
Right, and it sounds like with Lost and all them coming on that you're having no problem with these characters finding their own voice and creating their own niche within the tale.
Right. It's like you just gotta stick with you just gotta know who they are, and it's like, well, then she wouldn't say this, or she wouldn't do that.
Right.
But she'll say this, and this person will not like that very much because of XYZ history. So
Right.
so it was like the Legolas and the dwarf in Lord of the
Gimli?
Rings.
Right.
Mhm, yeah, Gimli. They
I
have
don't know how I remembered that.
but they have a history in their races that that sparks different things. But as the story
Right.
continues, there are more things happening, and those things are in the past, but now they can be brought up for more chaos. So
Right. There's conflict, but there's
Mhm.
also an understanding of why they need to work together and get something
Mhm.
accomplished.
So
Got to overcome.
Yep.
Nice. I just wanted to bring that out a little bit because you see something on the surface, and it's nice to get a little deeper. Know that it's about some of these deeper relationships that they're going to form, and there's going to be clashes. There's going to be changes in how they perceive each other. There's going to be growth in how they move forward. So it's a thought out world you have, and a lot of times with these indie projects, unless it's from like Dynamite or another indie comic company that you don't really consider indie anymore,
Right.
which has a huge budget behind it, people think of the budgetary restraints of having an artist that can convey a story properly. And your project doesn't lack from that. So your art conveys the story you're telling. Your art is kinetic. It keeps the eye moving. The dialogue is fun. You have it interspersed in different areas where it's not in a dialogue box, like when it's noises or reactions, it shows up. But your stories are kinetic. They have fun pacing, and they whisk the reader along. Now, it doesn't feel too fast. It kind of feels like it's just right for what you're trying to get across to us. So I think that's well done, because pacing is sometimes something an indie comic creator suffers from, and I think you have really good pacing.
Well, again, I really appreciate it, because nobody tells me, now. You and Robbie have shared the same point of it has a lot of. He says dynamism. So I was like, what exactly is dynamism? And he's
Yeah.
like, it's very, I see it
Yeah,
from like
it's
the manga
kinetic
inspirations,
storytelling.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, good.
You can promote that
Tell
on
me
your
what's
next
bad about it.
Kickstarter now in Dynavision.
Yeah.
Go back to the old movie days, right?
Right. Right.
And
Get your
before
Dynamax glasses.
Glasses now. Right.
No, I mean that's important because to have the art also carry the story with the prose.
Well, that's the fun part. That's what. Well, it's I have a passion for both things, but drawing has always been kind of a strong suit for me, and I've really wanted to lean into it. So, and I've also really wanted to develop it. I really want it to get better.
Right.
So, just getting into doing the story is the best way that I don't want to practice. My practice is doing, because it's so time consuming anyways to do the story itself and all these illustrations. You learn as you go, and then you people will see you develop, and they can read it and still see this development happening in the writing and in the art. So, but I always wanted it to get better and never stop drawing. So as much as I was like, I really want a good story in my life. I really want a good story, and I want people to have a new story that's not the Ninja Turtles again, not the Star Trek again, not
Right.
you know, I want to give a new story. And even if it's an archetypal story that has the same beats, same situations happen, at least it'll be these new characters that,
Right.
Well, and it also be
you know.
your version of it, and in your
Mhm.
eyes, and how it's drawn through what you see. I mean, there's plenty of things out there that could be considered repetitive. Oh, I'm doing, so and so did this, and it's very much like what you do, but it's not the same because it's coming from you versus what that person did, and they might
Right.
be
Right.
totally different in how they develop their character. I mean, the Envy human crossover, that part has been done before, I'm sure, but how
Mhm.
you do it and how you present it, you just like you were talking about with her brain and everything.
Right.
That's
And
never
how it affects the
that
character.
yeah. I mean that's not been done. I mean that's new. That's fresh. So you have to look at it in the right light. That's all.
Now,
Yeah.
to close things up, give your last pitch for people to go check out your Kickstarter and to go back you. And again, launches April 1st. But go ahead and give your final pitch as we wrap things up here.
Okay. Envy is going to be a lot more. There's like I said, this one's 40 pages. I tried to put a lot of juice into it. There's a lot of exposition. There's a lot of experimentation with a lot of the panels. Layouts, like how does the exposition kind of develop a little bit more versus all the action that's happening. How am I gonna get the best out of each action scene? So I'm really putting my best, forward in this project, as far as writing and art goes, and composition. That's not to say it won't get better, but this has been the best so far, and it's been so fun getting to go through these demons, dig into the Goetia more, get relationships out of the old lore that's actually existing with magical text. And it's been so fun getting to put my own twist, like Jim expressed earlier, getting to put my twist on these characters, old and new, and get something new out of it. So it's April 1st is when it launches, and if you go find the link somewhere, it should be envy-comic.com. I'll be posting it. Go to my Substack at American Demon Comics, and you can find all the links that you need. There's also my website, americandemoncomics.com, that has all the social media links as well. And you can read Envy up to this point there as well.
Nice. And again, fun, engaging characters, cool designs, and a fun world to spend some time in.
Mm-hmm. It's
saying good luck.
I appreciate it. There's a very muscular characters in there. Michael is a beast, and the new character Zagon is a beast. And then there's some very beautiful, luscious demon ladies in there as well. So if you really want some eye candy, I try to get it in there as well.
Right. There you go. Everybody likes a little eye candy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Jim and I wear bags most of the time.
And
I'm just no, but no, great, Great. I'm looking forward to the launch. This time around, I actually want to get some physical copies. So I'm looking forward to that. And like I said, I wouldn't have you on if I didn't think this was a project that I thought was good. And I think it's worth mentioning that your first 2 issues were fully funded. So there hasn't been a funding issue. So people can have confidence moving forward that the books that they're backing are going to get into their hands.
That's right. And since this is a 1 issue, the funding goal is a little bit smaller, but all the same, it needs support. And again, I'm trying to bring something fresh. If you want something fresh and as good as quality as I can make it, this is where you want to go. And I appreciate it, Jerry. I turned off all the chat, so I didn't know. Well, I full screened us, so I didn't know a lot of people were saying stuff. So I'm sorry if anybody said anything and I missed it, but
they're okay. They'll make it.
Yeah, they'll make it.
I appreciate everybody being here, though.
And of course, since we're here promoting a Kickstarter, we're going to forego the usual what's coming up next, because when we're promoting the Kickstarter, we just want it to be about that. Tonight is Austin's night. This is his promotion. Check out the Kickstarter link in the description below. And I personally think anyone that checks this out is going to have a good bit of fun with it, and they're gonna really take to the characters. And go find out for yourself who some of these characters are. Austin gave you 1 spoiler for issue 1. That's all you get. Go see the rest for yourself. But that's it for tonight, guys. Austin, thank you so much again. I appreciate you coming on and spending time on my dinky little channel. It's much appreciated. And
well, I appreciate you having me, Gary.
Absolutely. And of course, always a big thank you to my wingman, Digger Jim. Yeah, I always fly with you, Jim. You're great to have on. Thank you, sir. And to our audience, thank you guys so much for being here. Hope you guys are checking out that Kickstarter and at least signing up to get notified so you can check it out upon launch. You saw I already had it saved. I'm waiting to check it out when it launches. And Austin, before we end, do you have any other appearances scheduled anywhere that you would like to promote?
Appearances, I will be at the Deep in Huntsville for Free Comic Book Day. I'll be doing another Huntsville event at a comedy place called Shenanigans. In September, I will be in Chattanooga at the Anime Verse convention. So that will be kind of outside my normal area that I stay. But yeah, so if you wanted to come meet me there and pick up some stuff, that'd be awesome. I do sell stuff at the tables that you don't get anywhere else. I have some t-shirts and pins and stickers, and so it's a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, congratulations on that. And again, thank you to everybody, guests, co-hosts, audience, and for those of you watching on the Rewind, I hope you had fun learning a little bit more about Austin Light and American Demon Comics, which is his own company, and Envy. And watch out for further information on the Bigfoot comic that he's also going to have coming out. So a lot of stuff in the pipeline, a lot of stuff in development. Austin's going to keep it coming. And all you got to do is put your money where your mouth is. And if you're one of those people that say, I want something different, go check it out. At least see if it's for you, And that's all we can say. Check it out. I endorse it. Like I said, there's a lot of people I've turned away because I get previews of things and read them. And if I don't think it's something I can promote or on a level that I think it's worth people spending their money on, they're simply not on the show. Not to be rude or mean to them, but we have to be careful with what we promote to our audience because we don't want to tell them to buy something that's not worth their money. I don't think that's an issue with Austin. I think he's producing great work. I think he's producing work that is worth spending your money on and worth checking out. And with that, guys, we are going to say keep it casual, and we're going to see ourselves out. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.